Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a look here again at XRP, see what's going on. Kind of got this interesting little pattern behaving here so far in the hourly. We'll talk about that and the potential for upside or downside depending on, a lot of it depends on Bitcoin, honestly, because Bitcoin does look like it wants to try to break out soon because it's kind of stuck in like a weird range. Looking for a closure above 61.5 for a long on Bitcoin and then 59.5 or below, potentially a short. So basically just waiting for confirmation. It's kind of just hanging out there. It looks like XRP is similar, but there's a lot of things we got to recognize too with liquidation. So let's jump on in there, and if you could, please just hit the like button, comment below. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks again to those who have been doing that on every single video. Deeply appreciate you. Okay, so taking a look here at XRP. This is the last 7 days on the left, last 30 days on the right. We can see a pretty consistent number here. 62 cents is a lot of liquidation, okay? We zoom out even further, we can see upwards of 66 cents as $1 billion per tick here. So we're looking at about 2.5 to 3 billion in liquidation at 66 cents, and roughly 62 cents, about a 3/4 of a billion. You add everything together, it's a little over 1.5, but generally speaking, 62 cents is that next point of contention. All the more reason why the price may go higher up than go lower, just based on that sentiment. Keep in mind though too, liquidation tends to accumulate at heavy resistance ranges, which we see right here, this 0.618 fib level at 61 to 62 cents as a round number. I'm kind of rounding up a little. Basically 60.5 upwards of 61 is essentially that golden pocket, that resistance range where the price actually had some difficulty getting through that level. Okay, so we're gonna need more volume to get through there. No other way around it. Okay, so when we zoom in, we look at it. Volume is still kind of low, so not always a great sign. We'll look at our volume profiles too and see. But if we look at the last, ever since, this is quite a long ways. Let's go back back to December. So hypothetically, we look back as far as, just say the first year, let's make it easy. As of the first of the year, we've seen somewhere in the range of about 52.5 cents as that local point of control, basically. So this year's point of control is 52.5, round number, 53 cents, okay? We're above that level right now. That's a good sign. This generally implies that we should see some support if we come back to that range. So heads up on that. That does imply that a long position makes more sense than a short. However, it doesn't mean you do that because that's there. It just lets you know that that's a support range. Having said that, that's a very loose support range. And if we look at our moving averages, they're all below the price action too. Even more of a reason for the price to likely progress higher than lower. Okay, so again, take a look at this. All moving averages below the price action. Let's take a look at the RSI. Unlike most coins, we've been maintaining pretty much above 50 in the RSI ever since we broke above back on August 7th. Okay, so it's been about 2-3 weeks roughly worth of time in that range, which is very good. Even though money flow index is pulling back, that's relevant because this is dropping off. We can see the general consensus here is positive. Okay, MACD and stochastic all look good. So the daily on XRP is pretty strong. Pending Bitcoin doesn't take a nosedive, I think there's a solid chance we're going to be able to maintain this range and we're higher. We take a look at the 4-hour, very similar circumstance here. However, we broke down below the 20-day SMA as of just last few hours. So not really ultimately the best situation. I usually kind of raise my eyebrow when I see the price under the 20-day SMA on the 4-hour. It lets me know that blindly taking a long isn't really appropriate any longer. Not like you should do that in the first place, but it's kind of a figure of speech. You don't really want to take a long position once you break below the 20. It's not to say the price can't still go up. It just tells you want to be a little more mindful. We can also see we got somewhat of a ascending type of pattern here, which generally breaks to the upside. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a break up, especially with Bitcoin behaving the way it is. It's kind of breaching that 60.5 mark. We're over 50 on the RSI, which is good. Stochastic's starting to find its bottom. MACD diverging. These are some conflicting signs, but we are above most moving averages. And the general consensus here is slightly positive, okay? So this isn't like groundbreaking, being like, oh my gosh, the 4-hour time frame is so amazing, I want to take a long position. Not even close, but it is better than not. It's like a 60-40 split. Hourly time frame, Ichimoku Cloud. This gives us a lot of confirmation that we don't have confirmation, okay? I know it sounds kind of weird, but when you have a lot of conflicting factors, or just in this case, things start to kind of compress and gets a little messy, there's no reason to take a trade because you're really just flipping a coin. It doesn't make a ton of sense. So at this point here, it is probably best to just kind of hang out and wait for the price action to make a move. And what I mean by that is, soundly closing above 0.618 would be a starting point. We want a closure at 60.5, maybe 61 cents or higher before we can warrant a long position. And I know. I get a lot of questions. Why wait for a higher price point to take a long that's going up? Doesn't make a ton of sense. Why don't you short that level? While it's true we could see a double top and the price could pull back, the likelihood of the price going higher here once we break through this range is greater because you're going in the direction of the momentum. Okay, we'd be above the cloud at that point. The lagging span would be free and clear. Conversion line probably above the baseline. There's a lot of things that would be present at that point. Again, it depends on how we get there, but generally speaking, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, for a short, I would say a closure at 59.5 or lower would make sense because see, we got this little bearish back test of this Fibonacci retracement level. Price continues lower. Again, it's not an exact science, but these are just things that I like to look for, and I like to look at confirming factors as well. The thing we can confirm is the 4-hour time frame is kind of a mess when the daily looks kind of good. So you could err on the side of caution and say that a long makes more sense. You're going to probably find more statistical probability in taking a long and the price going up to sweep this upper level of liquidation. Sure, I think that's a very realistic probability. But is it a distinct probability? Is it like a 90% likelihood because of everything we've seen here? No, it's like a 55% probability, and that's not the kind of odds I like to take. Again, just me personally. Hindsight is obviously 2020, but if you take a look here, AVAX, we took a nice long from 22 to 23, 25, and we got a good little 20% off of that. And that was just a coin that was retesting a resistance level, had a lot of liquidation at 23, and it made sense. XRP hasn't really given us that inclination it wants to break out yet. Okay, again, when things compress, things squeeze, you can maybe just flip a coin and hope for the best. That's what you're going to be doing right now if you take a trade with XRP. All right, so I hope that makes sense. I described that correctly. If you are offended by me saying this coin may not go up, you probably shouldn't be watching my channel because I'm just always going to shoot you straight and let you know how I see things are and how are they shaping up, what's the deal. Sometimes you just kind of got to accept the fact that no trade is a good trade. Literally 95% of these analysis that I do result in not taking a trade. I know, it seems frustrating. The CryptoCache doesn't send enough signals. Oh, boo-hoo. But you know what? I have a high success rate, and I like to keep it that way, and it's not because of any reason or another. I just like to make sure I don't lose money for myself or the few hundred traders underneath me. It just makes sense, right? Anyways, I hope that makes sense. I described that correctly. Less is more. Trading is difficult. You got to work hard at this in order to be good at it. And just jumping into any old trade just because you see a slight convergence doesn't mean it's going to work out. It'll work out a few times and eventually bite you in the butt. So learn from your mistakes. All I got to say. Thanks for watching. If you are part of my community, please, please, please make sure you watch through my university videos. It's extremely important that you do that. If you're not using that knowledge, it's kind of wasting it. I do have trade alerts now as well for coins that I'm looking into, that I'm planning to take trades with. They inevitably become these trade signals here. For example, SUI, we took a short last week, 54%, Bitcoin 46% in 7 days. That was a short from 60 to 56. Anyways, again, just had to be patient for those. They're not perfect, but it's cool, right? Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.